G'day, welcome back to a blustery episode of Brupeg. It's great to see you guys all after Christmas. We need to deal with our solar panels. These have been fastened down to the boat. We now need to get all of our cables disappeared in, like you can see here, all the way up to our charge controllers, our inverters, our batteries. And then we came across a little issue that kind of scared the shit out of us, and we need to deal with it. More on that in a sec. A few weeks back, you saw us install our BougeRV YUMA CIGS solar panels. These things are amazing. They put out a lot of power. However, we haven't been in a position to be able to utilize that power. The charge controllers we had, we didn't have enough of them, and they were too small. And because of our Patreon support, we're finally in a position to be able to upgrade our charge controllers to the right size and the right number. We can unleash the full potential of these panels. Brupeg was a sunken fishing trawler that was stripped out and ready for the scrapyard. She's just completed a 10-year rebuild that's brought her back to life. With the help of volunteers and funded by our Patreons, community and subscribers, she'll be crewed by passionate people from around the world. If you'd like to be involved and support the project, please consider joining us on Patreon or subscribe to the channel. There's a link in the description below. In Brupeg's battery room, which sits about the middle of the boat, underneath the wheelhouse floor, down in the battery room area, jump down in here, we've got our inverters, our batteries, our main switches for the batteries, and then over here we've got our 4 solar controllers. Obviously this wiring's all dangling down, just ignore that for now, but that's where our current solar controllers sit. However, there's nowhere near enough room to add in the other 5 solar controllers plus the GX unit that we need to put in there, the servo unit. So we have to come up with a new plan. The new plan is mounting them on the front wall. So this piece of timber that I've got here, I was thinking of running them all in a row, but they're 1.8 meters long from one to the other. They go from hard up against this wall here all the way down to the back. That timber is 1.8 meters long, so it gives you an idea. So what I'm thinking is splitting them into 2 groups, top and bottom, and cutting that timber in half and putting it on as 2 pieces, top and bottom, across here. Mainly so that we can actually access everything. We don't have to try and work under the hole down there. We can get the floorboards up down there, it's just very difficult. So that's what I'm thinking. But in order to do that, I need to start tearing these apart. 2 of them are currently hooked up, 2 of them are not. I need to pull the ones that are not hooked up because they're good. The ones that are hooked up are actually burnt out. The ones that are not hooked up, there's nothing wrong with them. They've never been used before, so we're going to pull those guys out and we're going to start assembling them on the bench to see what layout works best. Right, this gives you an idea of what we have to try and fit. So we've got 5 of these 130s, so 100 volts and 30 amps is the sort of upper limit of these things. And then we've got 2 of these 120s, and then we have 1 Servo X. So a Servo X is kind of like the brains of the whole thing. So this gets a lot of stuff plugged into it. So each one of these has a cable coming back to this. All of them basically run back. So there's 9 cables going back to it, and I think there's an Ethernet from memory. I think there's an Ethernet that comes up to our BougeRV system, but I can't remember. So there's quite a lot of cabling before we even get to the solar stuff. Each one of these controllers has 4 cables. So we've got a positive and negative for the battery, and then a positive and negative for the solar itself. So there's a bucket load of cabling, and that's why I'm thinking if I have this big channel down here, I can put a cable tray right in the center of it and sort of channel everything down. So we'll pull from the outside in from these 2, one there, one there, one there, one there, one there, and then these 2 grouping together and feeding in that way as well. So I'm hoping that that's going to be a tidy way of doing it. It also keeps my length relatively small, so it's only 900 that way. I've got enough height, but it's that way that's the concern, running out of space in that battery box. This is layout number 3. I've tried a few. I'm thinking bring the cables into the center here, bring them down the top there, and then everything has to work its way up to this guy here or off to the solar panels or batteries depending on where it's going. That's one option. That's another option. Well, that there is my initial thought. It's a wee bit longer than I had pictured in my head. This is the 4th option that I come up with. So basically need 5 controllers for the rear roof. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So rear roof is on this bottom row. I need 2 controllers for the front. So this is going to be the front roof of the boat, the front cabin. And I need 2 smaller controllers for the wheelhouse. So we're going to do wheelhouse with these 2. And then we've got our servo up here. Also gives me plenty of room to put a big cable tray. I think I'll do a 150mm cable tray all the way down the guts. So that we've got heaps and heaps and heaps of space for cables, because it's not just the cables for like the solar and the battery and the various Servo X cables and stuff that we have to deal with. It's other cables that are in that battery room right now that power other things that sort of pass through this area. After a bit of choppy and some sanding to make sure the edges are lovely, it's time to throw a bit of paint on this thing. Just using varnish, don't need to go carried away with an epoxy or anything like that. We just have to seal the wood up to make sure that the smell of this is pine, we want to make sure the smell of the pine doesn't come through the boat, because Jess reacts to the smell of timbers and things. And secondly, just to make sure we seal it up for any condensation and things like that. Time to get these things glued into the wall in the battery box. Right, in order to do that, I need to rip out all the old conduit and move the wiring that's going to be in the way. It's one of the things I love about this the 190 Fixtech 190 is it's really high tech and it doesn't have a lot of smell. Like, I literally cannot smell this right now and I'm in the box with it, but it's really high tech, so I don't need clamps. I can just press it up and it's got enough stick that it'll hold its own weight with this board and everything on it. It's pretty awesome stuff. I'm sure there's others out there. This is just the one that we use. We just really like it. You might be wondering, why go to the hassle of putting a piece of timber onto that steel bulkhead when we could quite easily just bolt these charge controllers straight to the bulkhead and we don't have to worry about it. You could bolt the charge controllers straight to the bulkhead and they would be earthed to the boat, and that's fine. They're set up to be able to handle that. By putting the timber there, it means it's easier to fasten them. You can just screw them in with big wood screws, 12 gauge and 10 gauge wood screws. But aside from that, it actually works like an isolation block, so it completely isolates these charge controllers away from the hull. And what that allows us to do is then control where the earth and the electron flow is actually going. So essentially we can decide where the earth is going to be, so we have less potential issues with stray currents and stray earths, that sort of thing. You can deal with that sides of it if you have it directly connected to the boat, but it's also easier and nicer if you've got the ability to have everything isolated and then you physically choose where your earth and your current flows are going to go. It's time to get all of the charge controllers into the battery box, and to do that we've imported some special talent. Duncan is busy beavering away. We've got our pile of charge controllers. We've marked out where our boards that we fitted yesterday need to go, so we've got a line there and we're just going to start stacking them all up. Yeah, let's get the hardware in. We'll do it. Sorry, I'm just going to hold the blue one for you, so you've got... I'll hold that. Alright. We're swapping out. Yeah, back. Yeah, easy.
With the brains in the outfit.
That guy. So writing is that way up.
Yep.
But all the cables, pretty much, apart from these guys, but we need mostly these, don't we?
We do. So we're
better off to do that.
Well, yeah, you can go either way. So Ethernet's going to come out this way anyway.
Okay. So what are these guys?
They're for your relay output. So this thing's got a couple of relays.
Are we going to use these?
Eventually, not in the short term.
Okay. So
if you want your battery stuff, where battery stuff is, upside down is probably your go.
Because what I was thinking is we've got our VE direct cables.
Yep.
We've got USB and VE direct cables. We've got our Ethernet cable and we've got our monitoring stuff.
Yep.
If we mount it that way, everything comes into the centre and then can go into it that way and off.
Yep, agree.
Alright. We could come down off to the
side. These are going to be pretty light wired. Yeah, you can do that.
P-clamp it like that.
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, this thing's special, so it can stand out.
Yep.
Double beautiful.
I don't know which of these corresponds to which of your labelled ends at the other end of the cables.
That's my next
We
question.
could maybe figure that out.
We can figure that out.
Do you want me to move this guy up?
Yep, we go up.
That's a screwdriver and all.
You want that one? The real screwdriver. Have you got that other bit of tray? I'd like to at least line up the bottom. Let's see what I can zap out here. Yeah, I'll get that in a minute.
Can work?
I think so. Okay.
Oh, we're going to have to undo this guy to move that.
Yeah. So we're going to lose our something.
That's our positive bus for the 12 volt system on the boat. But we don't, it doesn't matter. Like we're just gonna
Lose it?
Yeah, we can lose it.
Okay, so it's your master solar.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, it is.
Gotcha. Okay, and then that's the bleed off for the 12.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But we're almost at the point we need to move these through now.
Okay.
Hit taken. Got it. This is the critical end.
What's that?
It's,
Oh, that's the USB. Can we just unplug it and then?
we can. So if you can tell me what the label is and change the mode.
Okay, can you tell me which one's flashing?
Okay, this one.
Okay, so
Front.
that one is called RPP middle.
So rear something.
Rear roof. I don't know, rear roof. Oh, rear roof port. Middle.
Okay.
I've got the second label for you too. I don't know how square that wood is.
Suppose you want metric.
You can use whatever you feel comfortable with.
185. Let's have a look.
Because we've increased the amount of solar on the boat, we've upgraded and changed a lot of the wiring. So this switch here was one of our master switches for solar. The cable that used to go into the back of it was this one here. It was 8mm square, and that was enough to handle the amperage that we were putting through it before. Because we've upgraded the solar and we have slightly more amps, this is the size of the new cable. Right, our switches have been relocated. So we've got a couple of on-offs down here. This is our solar, 200 amp capable system, and that's a kill switch for the whole thing. And then over here we've got our main 24 volt power. Cables out of the 24 volt power are much, much smaller because our actual load on DC is relatively small. Our charge current at the moment though is potentially massive, so hence why there's a big discrepancy in those two. Now it does look like this is quite close to the cables. It's quite a big hole, and these actually come up and out. They clear it by about 10mm, so there's plenty of clearance around this. And then these guys here will get cable tied down so that they're clear as well. So once the floorboard comes down over top of all this, if we ever need to kill the power, we can just lift up this small section of floorboard and we can turn that off. Over the back, Duncan has been working away in the hole down here. He has done...
I'm wetter than the sea right now.
Yeah.
Man.
But he's got all of these mounted, look at that, and the cable tray's in. And then
Yep.
on this side, cable tray is running the length of the power board, and we're just starting to organise our bus. So we've got, this is our positive bus down here for the solar, and this is our main negative bus. We've got a fancy little piece of copper that we made for our shunt to go across to the negative bus, and then he's organising our fusing, main fusing down the far end there, and then that's so that we can get our DC system up and running, because we need to have power, because right now we've got no power in the boat, so there's no fans, there's no air conditioning, it's stifling hot, and there's no wind.
Do you really think you should be keeping the cash?
this is our strategy this morning to deal with the oppressive heat that's in the battery room. So Dunk's yeah, overheating like crazy, and it's, I don't know, it's not even 8 o'clock I don't think. Over here Jess is...
Oh, it's 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. God. Oh.
It's 7 o'clock and it's got to be like
6:51 and it's unbearable. So the air conditioners are going at full. We've got every fan we have in the boat running. Jess is organising a pipe so that we can put an air conditioner up. The little BougeRV air conditioner. We're going to plug that in so Duncan can have air conditioning in here. Right, it's time to now get these panels connected through junction boxes to the MPPT Victron charge controllers that we've just installed. Now these little junction boxes are kind of cool. They're quite low profile. They have a couple of cable glands you can sort of see there. They just stick through. And then on the underside, they're pretty much just a blank void. So these are just injection molded plastic, but they're UV stable, which is why they've got them up here. And they're also very low profile. Another reason why we've got them up here, so we can reduce tripping hazards and things like that. So we have to figure out how we're gonna, hello, thank you. It's excruciatingly hot up here. So we have to figure out how we're gonna group these panels together and where the cables are gonna go. And then once we've figured that out, we need to drill a hole using the mag drill, put these over top of the hole so we can run the cables down inside the boat. On the cabin roof on the front of Brupeg, we've got 6 solar panels and we need to group them in 2 groups of 3. So the way that we're going to do it, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to group this front panel with these 2 panels. All of the cables sort of head off into that corner. And we're going to group these 2 panels with that 1 panel over there. The reason we're doing it that way is shading mainly. We don't have to worry too much about shading with these panels compared to normal silicone panels, but we do still have to factor it in. The more sun you can get on them, the better. So by grouping one side and then another side, if you've got the sun on one particular side of the boat shading or whatever, the shade from things like this above me is going to come across on an angle and shade off these panels while these will be in full sun, or vice versa, heading that way. We're hoping that we can have these guys in full sun while these guys are shaded. It's not always going to work out like that. It's never, everything's a compromise on a boat, but it's kind of, it's an awkward layout up here, and it's as good as we can get given all the variables that we have to factor in. So you can get these junction boxes in either singles or doubles, so two cables, single cable. So I need to join, these 2 go to our charge controllers, these 2 need to connect, and these 2 need to connect. So what I'm thinking, I want to do the connections inside the boat, not outside, and I don't want cables coming randomly across the deck. I want to keep everything. I don't mind these because they're a bit obvious, but if you've got a cable strung across the deck, it can be a bit of a trip hazard. So obviously trying to reduce all of that. What I'm thinking is bring both of these down through a double cable gland. You can get, sorry, junction box with cable gland. You can get doubles and singles, so double cable, single cable. The only difference is the width. Thinking I'll put a double there like that. I'm thinking a single here for this guy like that. These 2 will join up on deck. There's nothing I can do about that. So there will be a thing across here, but I'll probably silicone these right down hard onto the deck. And then this guy here, thinking either bring it around like that, or depending on how much this is going to get in the way opening it, I can put it over there like that, have the cable going into it like so. In fact, I might try and do that because it hides it all behind this. And if you're going to trip on that, you're going to trip on that. So it kind of keeps a big trip hazard all as one big group. So I might just, good, I'll do that. Okay, now this guy can go here. So we want to do a hole about there. Yep. This guy can go about there. So we'll do a hole about there. Let's deal with that one in a minute. Let's get the mag drill up and drill these guys out. The issue with the mag drill is it's 6mm steel, and mag drill really doesn't like 6mm steel. It likes having really chunky steel to magnet onto, so when I push this down the magnet's crocking back up. It's not ideal. I think you're gonna have to hole saw it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's the 6mm steel isn't, oh, sorry, 6mm steel is too thin. The magnet doesn't really hold on. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna have to hole saw them. Fuck it. So slight change of plan. The mag drill doesn't have enough grunt, so we're going to be hole sawing this. Yay, hole sawing. Oh, and it's too damn hot to not do this without covers, so covers are up too. Right, one. Beauty of working with mild steel is you can do all your cleanup with a magnet. Lovely, finished. Back there, if I mount that, something like that, there's plenty of space. It's not going to get in the way. The cable run will be sort of something like that, so it's not going to get in the way of this here at all, whether it's closed or open. So I think that's going to be a good location for that one. Jess!
Yeah.
Can you close this hatch down again? Spicy metal. I need more powerful magnets. Oh, 1 millimeter in.
Ooh.
This might be a multi-stage effort. Two millimeters.
That's your workout for the week.
Hot day, pushing up. Yeah.
Would you like a cold spray of water?
No.
Eh?
No, I've got one. I'm sweating and I've got an air conditioner in my back.
Yeah, right. Almost there?
Just about.
Ooh, baby. Almost
Very,
there.
very close. I think it's broken through on part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. I'm just going to push on. Come down though. Done.
Oh, lovely. Skylight.
Tiny, tiny
No
star.
skylight. Nice.
Spicy metal. Yes, you can put these in plastic bags and it saves this effort, but I've never been able to put it in a plastic bag and not have it rip, so I gave up preempting a comment of put these in plastic bags.
Well, it's a good idea, isn't
It
it?
is a good idea.
You need a really strong plastic bag though.
Yeah,
Just
I've just
have
never been able to get it to
kitchen
work.
plastic bags.
This one panel is really quite awkward because I've got to get two cables down, which is not in itself awkward, but so this here is the extractor tube for our galley. We've got our bulkhead for the galley right there. So galley on this side, and on this side we've got our editing studio. We've got shelving right here above one of the workspaces, which isn't in itself an issue. We can drop the shelving, but we can't necessarily come far enough out to get the cables easily down into that room without clearing the insulation from the wall and everything else. So we can't come this way very far. We can't easily go that way because of the extractor hood that sits right above the top of the galley. we can't come over to the side because we've got quite thick insulation, 120mm insulation that comes out to about here somewhere. So the only place that I've been able to figure out where to put it is right here. So if you look from the back of the boat, this is an old gas pipe that we need to take out, so it's yet to happen. But if I pop it down right here, it ends up coming down above the range hood, but I think I can still make that work. There's other cables sort of in that vicinity, so we can link it up with other cables. It's not ideal, but it's as good as we're going to get on this area, I think. Done. The stuff I'm using to seal this down is FX190 HT, so HT is high tack. Amazing stuff. It can be used below the waterline, so it's really good for boats and strong and that sort of thing. But it's also paintable, which is a really nice feature, because obviously up here we're going to be painting this eventually. We want it on full squeeze, not off squeeze. I'm going to put quite a bit of this down because we want this to seal like there's nobody's business. Okay. Yoink. Once this stuff's down and once it's set, there's no way we're getting this off without a chisel, so you don't have to fasten through these to get these to stay down. They'll just stay down forever and a day. Do a nice curve. I'm not worried about the colours extending out by doing this because we're going to be painting across this area and this stuff's paintable, so there we go. That's going to be watertight. Right, let's do the rest of them. I'm not putting like a conduit or something around here because I'm going to be putting conduit right up to the cable gland pushed all the way up, so I don't actually need to put it around this. Even though it is a sharp edge, it needs to be protected in some way. We're doing it not at the metal, we're doing it at the cable side.
Now?
Yeah, so take that one now and then I'll cut this end when you'll tell me it's safe. No, you're right. Just tell me when you've taped it up. So what we're doing, because these panels are live, even though it's overcast, we're still going to get voltage and amps out of these. So what we're doing is we're taking these MC4 connectors off and we're cutting one cable. In this case the earth has been cut and fed down, and Jess is putting tape on the cut end, and then once she tells me it's safe, I cut this end and I feed this one down, and we're doing one cable at a time and taping it on the inside, and that way we know that we're not going to have live cables dangling around. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Okay, that should be waterproof. And we're trying to get this done sort of now because we've got rain coming in about 20 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that, and it's due to stay for about 5 days. So if we get this done, it means all of the wiring and everything that we need to do is internal. We don't have to think about doing anything up here.
It's done, darling.
Awesome. Okay, so this next one is coming down the next hole down the back, and it will be a negative. Sorry, it'll be a positive.
Oh, what was the one you just sent down? Was that negative?
I sent a positive down.
I've got positive on both of them.
Oh, right, positive on the last one that I sent down and negative on the first one. Oh, got it.
Yep.
Okay, that one's positive. Okay, so this one's a negative.
Got it. Yep.
Okay, that one's positive.
Okay. Okay, got it. Okay.
This one is a negative. Okay, that one is a positive. Which is which? That looks like a negative. Gosh. Yeah, I'll just give you that. Yeah, it's all good. Okay, this is a negative coming down. Can you see that?
Yeah, I got it. So you were just sitting them all in like that, aren't you? And then you're working on that tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got 4 joins up here to do, and then this is finished.
I think you should motor.
Yeah,
in a minute.
yeah.
What's this, Dane? Negative or positive?
Sorry, that last one was positive.
Okay.
Duncan's currently kicking things in here.
Yeah, plastic cover back on the fuse box.
Lovely. Look at how amazing all of his wiring is. This is some fancy camera work, by the way.
It is. Look at that. I'll get my knee out of the way.
And so we've got an air conditioner precariously strung up, and we're piping cold air in so that it doesn't melt. QC inspection.
Gosh, it looks different, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, eh?
Sorry, I thought I'd just have a nosy.
Yeah. So he's working on the last of these things here. He's got these hooked up now. So this is our main solar and our main 24 volt power. He's got our Turbo GX now pretty much ready to go. So he's just about ready to fire that up. I'm going to crack on and get the last of these panels done. Okay, what we're going to do is join these guys here. And then we're also going to do the ones over the back. Okay, that one on. Ooh, it's a fail. Heat shrink gave way.
Was that too much heat on it, or?
No, the crimp should have held that no matter what. But I want it to fail. If it's going to fail, I want it to fall apart because it will be a really bad connection otherwise. The colour of the connector indicates the size of the wire. The yellow one's a 6mm cable and the blue ones are 4mm cable. The issue that we had was the insulation on the solar panel cable is very thick, and that meant the 6mm was the right fit. However, the cable itself, the conductor, the wires inside are 4mm. So we had to go down and force the blue one over the black insulation so that we had the right size connection for the wire itself. Hence we failed on that first connector when we used the wrong size. Swapped over to a blue and we're good to go. Adding the second layer of heat shrink over top of the whole thing is not necessary, but it's just another layer of protection that we want to add, particularly given that this connection is outside in an incredibly wet and exposed part of the boat.
Want to reach? Yep.
Cool. Thanks. I'm just going to give it a bit more GBs. Thanks. Yeah, it's better. So dinner time yesterday, we were sitting down in the saloon having dinner and we heard this crackling. We were like, what the heck, that doesn't sound right. We raced over here, and in the battery box, that inverter on the far side had a freak out. Let me show you what we saw. Look at that. That is really not good. In case you don't know what we're looking at, look how dark and terrible and disgusting that is. That's the live for the AC input. Obviously that's disconnected now, so there's nothing. This is just working as an inverter, which it seems to be okay with, but as soon as we had AC input going in and used this as a charger, it's having a new meltdown. It was just going bizarre. So we've swapped it over. Now this one here is charging, so we've swapped the cords over to this block here. We're going to pull this apart this morning and understand, is it the block that was dead just because the connection wasn't tight and we had too much heat from resistance or something? That'd be great, because that's a really simple fix. We change the block and we're good. Or is there an internal fault inside the machine? So this is where Dunk got to yesterday. The Victrons are all mounted. We've got all of our wiring down here, you can see, is starting to be neatly put onto the cable trays. It's still a wee bit chaotic in this corner, and working our way along, we're sort of tidying everything up. So partly why it's taking us way longer than we thought was Duncan is tidying as he's going. So we're sort of changing a lot of the cables and moving and rerouting things. We're putting cable tray in. We're just basically making it a more permanent solution. Everything up until now has kind of been a wee bit temporary permanent, we'll call it, because we don't necessarily know what we were doing with total system design until we have all of our charge controllers and our inverters sorted and all that sort of stuff, and we're starting to get to that point. So the inverters that we're using, we call them Oompa Loompas, and the only reason is because they have absolutely no brand name on them. They are essentially a home brand Aldi inverter, if you like. They're terrible. They are a $900 inverter. They're orange, that's why we call them Oompa Loompas. It's the only relationship to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Oh, and they're quite helpful. Apart from that, and they're small-ish.
Quite a lot, really.
But actually it's a lot. Apart from the fact that they're not tiny little dwarfs, they are basically just an Oompa Loompa. So, okay, good. Glad we cleared that up. The issue that we have is we would love to go to, say, a Victron Quattro or Multi Plus or something like that, like a really beautiful inverter system. We have quite a big power draw on this boat, so we need about 10 kilowatts of power in our peak loading. Sometimes it can go above that, but not very often. Most of the time it's sort of 6 to 8 kilowatts max. And buy Quattros and Multipluses and other inverters and stuff that can deal with that. Right now we've got two 5 kilowatt inverters, so we can run the whole boat off a 10 kilowatt system. The issue that we have is longevity. The inverters that we've got now, we paid $900 for one of them 2 years ago and one of them 12 months ago. We paid $1,100 for the second one. They're no longer available. For what they were good. They were dirt cheap. We knew that they were not going to be reliable, but they got us launched. They got us out of the yard. They got the whole power system of the boat running, and they got us the ability to basically get to where we are now. And we always knew we were going to upgrade them at some point, but we just can't afford to upgrade them, and that's the problem. If that charge controller isn't repairable, we really are stuck. So we need to be able to fix that so that we can delay doing the proper Victron upgrade. That's the dilemma. After wiring all of this stuff up, we've had one of our key components that was always going to be an unreliable key component turn to cactus on us. Yeah, leaving it on a cliffhanger. So we're not going to get bogged down on what we can't do with those inverters because of the fault that we found. What we can do, start getting our wiring done.